Yes, it's John G. Sutton, Tales from the Jails. I'll talk a little bit today about a problem that's relatively new. There wasn't particularly prevalent during my time working in the prisons, which goes back now about 45, more than that, 47 years when I started in the prisons. Getting older than I think. Anyway, let me tell you this. Yeah, prisoners who identify themselves in a gender that is not their natural gender of birth. Yeah. Recently, I read it today. I mean, you can look it up on thing that a particular inmate in New York, in the USA, New York City, New York State. Yeah, because it's a state, hence New York, New York. Did you know that? New York is in New York State. Yeah, that's why they call it New York, New York. Start spreading the news. Anyway, yeah, in New York State, the prison there, particular inmate who's serving 30 years imprisonment for manslaughter, born a man, yeah, born a male, has identified himself as being a female and managed to persuade the authorities that he was living as a female, and therefore they imprisoned him in a female prison. Well, it was like putting a kid in a toffee shop. He quickly impregnated a number of the female inmates, and yet still insists that he doesn't live life as a man. What is he doing then? He's certainly operating with his todger. Are you with me? His todger seems to be working okay, hence he's put these female inmates up the duff. There's going to be a big problem in society as this goes on with the woke generation. I mean, I'm not particularly, I must admit, I'm not a woke person, I don't think. I woke up this morning. Yeah, that's all I know. That's my idea of being woke, yeah. Anyway, the thing is, the more people who are identifying themselves as being men who are identifying themselves as being female, they're going to have a great time, aren't they? Yeah. And what about females that identify themselves as male? Yeah, the prisons are going to be, how are they going to deal with it? This is all the joys that are to come for the modern prison service. Yeah, I was looking it up, you know, what the prison rates of pay were for prison officers. Just moving off the subject a little bit there. Yeah, it's £34,000 for a prison officer working in inner London. That would be at the Scrubs, Pentonville, Wandsworth, you know. £34,000, yeah. Try renting a flat. You try renting a flat in London, yeah, with that. Because after tax, you're probably down to about 28,000, yeah. And you're going to rent a flat. I mean, I know I have colleagues and clients that rent properties in London, and they're telling me that they're paying upwards of £1,500 a month for a reasonable property, you know, reasonable apartment. £1,500 a month for an apartment, you know, one bedroom flat. After you've paid for that, you got your rates and your electric and your gas, and you ain't gonna do it on £34,000 a year top whack, are you? No chance. Anyway, let me tell you this: prisoners that identify themselves as women. When I was working in the prisons, very frequently you saw certain inmates who were obviously, they weren't identifying themselves as women. They were obviously attracted to men, you know, but they were not identifying themselves as women, but they would put makeup on, or what they use for makeup, probably paint that they got from the art department. One particular inmate I saw dressed up as a woman was a guy called Peter Cook, who was the Cambridge rapist. Yeah, he got himself dressed up as a woman, made himself a dress out of white sheets and the paint that he got from the art department, and he painted a pattern on the sheets, and he manufactured like a dress for himself. And he openly stated that he wanted to be reclassified as a woman. The Cambridge rapist, yeah. Yeah, seriously. And one day he jumped out of his cell dressed in this dress, tried to grab hold of me and kiss me. Kiss me, Mr. Sutton, kiss me. I introduced him to the door frame, his head like, yeah, get back in. You know, I mean, I ain't got nothing on. All he got was this dress and a great big stonker. Yeah, that's, by the way, that's another term for a todger, by the way. We're lapsing into the vernacular today, folks. Yeah, but you'll get actively homosexual inmates in the prisons that will dress themselves up. And some of them, you know, you can't really, I mean, not quite, you know, not quite these the things that you get in Thailand. They're not them. What do they call them? Boys or something, yeah. Lady boys, yeah. They're not quite lady boys, but they are pretty well down there, you know. They haven't got hairy faces like this. They tend to make themselves look as much like a lady as they possibly can. I believe they do quite good business as well. I was on the landings at the Scrubs, C2 landing, and this prisoner who'd only been in a few days came to me and said, how much does it cost for a blowjob? I said, why are you asking me? He said, no, he said, I thought you might know. I mean, do I look like I'd know that kind of thing? Seriously. Anyway, I said, listen, I'll take you to see the red band. So I just got the red band. I said, advise this young man, will you? You know what it was? He didn't want somebody to suck his todger. He wanted to pay to suck other people's todgers. Seriously. Yeah, I was woke before they woke up. Yeah, that's the way it went. Listen, I think it's that time. I got more. I've just had the weekend off. It's been hot, you know. Anyway, here we go. Watch out for these transgender inmates coming. They're coming to a prison near you. Yes, it's the song dinger. I've slightly amended this song, just a little bit, and you'll know who I'm referring to. All the people who have experience of staff that worked at Strangeways Jail when I was there in the 1970s and 80s. And this song is called Big Iron, and it's by Marty Robbins, that you will have heard it. So I'm going to shoot this for you. Are you ready? Through the town of Aquafira rode a stranger one fine day. Hardly spoke to folks around him, didn't have too much to say. No one dared to ask his business, no one dared to make a slip. The stranger there among them had a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his hip. It was early in the morning when he rode into the town. Came riding from the south side, slowly looking all around. He's an outlaw loose and running, came a whisper from each lip, and he's here to do some business with a big iron on his hip. Big iron on his head. In this town there lived an outlaw by the name of Big Fat Fred. Many men had tried to take him, and that many men were dead. He was a grassy, he was an arsehole creeper, though a youth of 34, and the notches on his pistol numbered 1 and 19 more. 1 and 19 more. Now the stranger started talking, made it plain to folks around. Was an Arizona Ranger, wouldn't be too long in town. He was here to take an outlaw back alive or maybe dead, and he said it didn't matter. He was after Big Fat Fred, after Big Fat Fred. Wasn't looking long before this story was relayed to Big Fat Fred. But the outlaw didn't worry. Men who tried before were dead. 20 men had tried to take him. 20 men had made a slip. 21 would be the stranger with the big iron on his hip. The big iron on his head. Now the morning passed so quickly, it was time for them to meet. It was 20 past 11 when they rode out in the street. Folks were watching from their windows, everybody held their breath. They knew this handsome stranger was about to meet his death, about to meet his death. There was 20 feet between them when they stopped to make their play. And the swiftness of the ranger is still talked about today. Big Fat Fred had not cleared the leather when a bullet fairly ripped, and the stranger's aim was deadly, with the big iron on his hip, big iron on his head. It was over in his moment, and the crowd all gathered round. There before them lay the body of the outlaw on the ground. Oh, he might have went on living, but he made a fatal slip when he tried to match the ranger with the big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. Yeah, he tried to match the stranger with a big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. Happy days. Yeah, thanks for watching. This is John G. Sutton, Tales from the Jails. Sincerely hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, like, subscribe, all the rest of it. I'll see you soon.